Just got back from the food bank today, and the enemy's tactics were a little different. Um, it must be like some hazing thing. But I think the narcissist could possibly be involved because they knew I was coming back today, and I thought that like they were gonna bother me again, but instead something else happened. So I showed up probably like 10 minutes after it was time to serve lunch, and I still do want to go and get breakfast one day. It's just I have not been hungry the last 2 mornings. I'm used to getting up later, so then starting to get up at like 9 o'clock. I might be awake, but actually my stomach is kind of upset. So I didn't even want anything. Like, I don't want to bike down there just to sit around, and I'm not even hungry at the soup kitchen. It's actually the soup kitchen. Maybe it's a food bank soup kitchen. But anyways, I showed up while someone was still at the podium, and they mentioned there were free blankets. Free blankets. Actually, give me a second here. There were free blankets. I need to get my free blanket to show you guys. Get my coat on too. I'm wearing this hat now because it was very cold today, and the way the wind was blowing, it was even hard to pedal. It was hard to pedal the bike because the wind was so strong. But like I was going like this and cinching it up because my hood would just fly right off, and it normally doesn't do that. Um, but I got a lot of food to take home. I got plenty of food to eat there. They had like 2 meals going on at the same time. It was really nice how much food they had. It was probably enough food for the whole day, but I didn't eat nearly all that I got because I'm still kind of used to more of a second shift schedule, so I can't eat a whole day's worth of food at noon. I could at 6 o'clock, but it's noon, so I'm just not even, like, I don't even want to get up to get coffee and donuts at 9, because my stomach is upset. And then at noon, I'm not really hungry, but I ate anyways, and then I'm going to go back at 4:30. Yesterday, it wasn't as much food for dinner, but they did have a good meal. But the lunches are like really big, so that's it's great that they offer this. But the way that I was attacked this time was different. Um, Maybe most people don't know what's going on, or they have their demons, and those demons are communicating. They know who I am, and they are coordinating. But I think the people that were involved in this today maybe knew the narcissist. The narcissist has a large network, and so when they see that God protects me, and they can't take me down, and when they mess with me, they get instant karma. So I think that could, I mean, if they don't care about other things, they will care about losing. But I get or actually, I go to stand in line, and then someone comes by and like, we'll serve you. And then I stood there, and more people were getting into line. I thought about it for a minute, and then I just went, and I sat down. And I didn't know if they were going to serve me or not, but I just sat down. And then I was praying, like, if I would pray over a meal, I was praying over the food there. And while I was doing that, I heard him say, "Oh, the girl or the woman in the black hat." I think they said the girl in the black hat, which is funny because I'm in my 40s. But anyways, then while I was praying, they took the tray and they slid it in front of me. And let's see. Yeah, it was like a big tray. It had like sweet potatoes, pecan pie. Let's see what else. There was green beans, bread. There was ham, and there was turkey and stuffing on this plate. And I also had a juice cup that I had gotten. And so, but I did want some coffee, and my hands were kind of full. So I might have taken a bite. I might not have. Actually, what happened is that I left once they gave me the tray. I prayed over it. I left my tray there, and then I went like so there's many rows, but then the row right across from me was where the coffee was. So it wasn't very far. Like, I wasn't sitting all the way by the entrance or by the place where they serve either. I was kind of in the middle and right across from the coffee machine, so I wasn't gone very long. It was less than a minute. So I leave my plate, I leave my juice. Now remember, I always put myself in situations to see what the enemy does. I pray and ask God for wisdom. My wisdom is I get screwed over and over and over again. That's how I get wisdom. Anyways, I've been wearing the same outfit like for a week again. That's fine. I'm when I was at the soup kitchen last night, like it smelled like someone just peed themselves in the chair and onto the floor right behind me. So I'm wearing the same shirt, and I thought maybe I should change it, but no, because then I'd have more laundry that I can't wash, so I'm just wearing the same shirt again, and that's okay. But I left my plate unattended. I'm not stupid, first of all, but everything I do is to see what the enemy will do. I have to experience it to learn, and that is what has happened. I got a ton of food, and I brought like a huge take-home container for my dogs, and I fed them again. And of course, I stepped in like 3 piles of dog crap trying to get that off my shoes. Just everything is a pain in the ass. Like, I thought this was my restoration. And so I get back and I start to eat my salad. And the narcissist is like, "What's your favorite food yesterday?" He kept bothering me when I was eating. I said, "I don't really know, just something that's not too bad." And then I was eating my salad. It's just pretty good. Or I said, "The salad's kind of skimpy because they didn't give me very much salad the day before." And he's like, "Oh, you like salad?" I said, "Yeah, But, so when I went to eat my salad, then I got a feeling over me. And the taste was, it was like, it could have been the dressing or it could have been something else. But it hit me. There was a drug. Somebody had spiked my salad dressing. And then so I ate a few bites of it and I felt this. I have been poisoned by a narcissist before. So not only is my tolerance now very high from them poisoning me for a long time, but I immediately know what this is. I think I've even tasted these types of things before. So I know what they do. And I cancel any negative effect that I cancel their toxins cannot harm a true believer. But God will let you feel it to know what they tried to do. And so then I cook a few more bites, and it's like I definitely was noticing that my salad had been spiked with some... I don't think this is a roofie, but they do put all types of things in there. And then I don't eat that, and then I eat the other things that are dry. So the items like the turkey breast and the ham, I did not eat. I brought back for my dogs. Now, they put some type of liquid medication on this, and that's why they put it onto the items on my plate that were kind of juicy. So it wasn't on the turkey I brought back for my dogs. It wasn't on the bread. I could see that wasn't messed with. And then the pecan pie was also great. And then there was this thing, it was kind of like moist sweet potatoes, and I ate a few bites, and this tasted weird too. And then I didn't eat that. So then on my tray, and I turned it, then I ate all of it except for the salad and the sweet potatoes, which had been poisoned. I don't know what they put in it, but not everything is deadly. But some things, they will have bad effects on you. But then the people sitting... So when I came back for my coffee, there was like a woman, like she was kind of sideways blocking the aisle. And I was like, "Excuse me." And I go to, and she moves a little slowly. She moves back out of the way. And she's kind of blocking me. She was probably like blocking where my tray was while somebody else dropped whatever drug it was in my food. And so then I got around her and I sat down. And it's like I can tell now who the enemy is. Because the guy yesterday was an enemy. And he was like blocking the coffee. And this woman, she was blocking my tray. It's like I immediately know now. I have learned. Now you're instantly working for the other side. And it's not even something that like you would necessarily immediately think is rude. But I know what they do and how they do it. And then her and an older man, like, they were probably addicts of some sort. And they were just kind of sitting next to me and not across from me. They were like a seat or two away. And then they were sitting across from each other, and they watched, and I think they were looking from through their side eye. It wasn't obvious, but God gives us discernment, so we know what's going on. And then they noticed that I left the 2 items on my tray that had been drugged, and I ate the rest of it. Then I went up, and then there was a whole other place that was handing out food. Like, there was a whole other table with more food, like a second meal, and it was right next to the coffee. So I left the poison food, and I went up, and then they had like candied beets or cranberries. They had cranberry sauce. They had buttered corn. They had fried fish. This was really good. And they had little chicken finger things. So I got a whole new tray, and they loaded it up again and got me a container. And the woman was like, "I can get you a container if you watch my tray." And then she came back and I asked, "Do people sometimes mess with the food?" And she's like, "Yeah." I said, "Yeah, I think I noticed that." And so she watched my container a few more times when I had to leave as well. So I got to be prepared next time. So they were sitting there, and like they were surprised because I didn't yell, I didn't say anything. I just sat there by myself eating quietly, and then ate a few bites of the salad, and it's like, this is poisoned. And then I swiveled my tray, and then when I got to the candied yams, I took a couple bites, and I'm like, and then I didn't eat it, and I ate the rest. And then I got up, and then when I came back, I had a whole other tray. And it was like heaping with even more food that might have even looked more delicious than the original tray. And so they lost. The narcissist might have, like, paid them or told them to, might have given them something, might have given them a beer or something to put something in my food. And so then when I leave and I come out, it was super windy today. Like, my hat's blowing off, stuff's blowing over, trash bins are blowing over. My bike, I had been parking it on the end. Well, that spot was taken, so I parked it in the middle, and then it had fallen over. Now, this actually could have been the wind, and my kickstand's not that great. Like, normally I gotta tighten it every so often. It just loosens. I think it was added later. And it doesn't have, like, a nut on the bottom, so I just think it like loosens a little bit over time. I tightened it really hard with the wrench, but you know, maybe I should go to the bike shop and ask if they have a screw to put on there or something, or put the nut on the bottom, because I don't know what size that is, and it's really big. It's like this wide or something. So anyways, then I picked up my bike, and there was another woman there, and she was borrowing like her son's bike to get there, and she couldn't get the bike locked. And then, you know, we were talking for a minute, and she said, like, people mess with the bikes and stuff, and that people don't really mess with hers because they know her and they know they'll get karma. And so then I told her, yeah, God does sometimes instant karma when people mess with me. And there was another guy out there too. And he probably, he was with the whole bunch of the addicts that go to the soup kitchen, and probably overheard this when I said, oh, and the last guy that screwed me over is now homeless on the street, and the other ones, they're getting drive-by shootings. And that's exactly what happened. So then he might have overheard this, might take that information back, because they tried to poison my food, and I didn't even have to tell anyone. I didn't have to report it. I mean, I always could. If the opportunity arises, or if it makes sense. But then I picked my bike up, and it could have just fallen over. But then there's numbers on the handlebar where you like turn the gears, and those had been snapped off. And so this has never happened. This is like a vintage bike. I really like this bike. And so I think that somebody actually damaged my bike. And so the older man was standing outside, and then someone else came past, and they said they got cameras on these bikes. And, you know, when I go back for dinner, I might have to mention something, because on my handlebar, the numbers were broken off. And I did like that, because I like to switch back and forth. Now, I still know where they are, but it's not quite as easy to tell which gear it's in. And maybe it doesn't even matter. But when we were out there, and I said, God, and I was talking about karma, and I said that there was drive-by shootings for the last guys that screwed me over into their house, and the other one's homeless now, you know. Maybe someone overheard that in their attempt to poison me and to damage my bicycle. It also, like, if it just fell over, it's not going to break off the numbers on my gear. Because that part of the handle wouldn't even have hit anything. Like, that, it would have hit, like, the rubber side or something. Like, where the numbers are would not have impacted anything to break off. So that didn't make sense. I think somebody actually tampered with that. I do think so. And someone said they have cameras on these bikes. So, God knows that I need a bicycle. God knows I need a bicycle. But anyways, then they were talking about these free blankets they were giving away. And, I don't even think they gave all of them away. Like, then, there were still quite a few, but they're really little. So I'm going to show you guys what I'm talking about. And I walked by and I said, that's really nice of them to give people, that's really nice of them to give people these blankets. But, and I kind of felt bad because I thought they'd all be gone, but they just had tubs left that weren't taken. And they said, why don't you take some, you know, because they actually had a lot and weren't able to give them away. And I said, well, I don't celebrate Christmas. Because, like, every one I saw had, like, a Santa Claus or something on it. And that is, like, pagan idol worship or something. And so, but then they dug through and they found one that was just snowflakes. And so I'm like, oh, thank you, you guys, you know, that's... And then I took it. And I was going to give it to Sarah, but she, I was going to give it to Sarah, but she is, now this is Reese, that is not Sarah. She ran outside trying to look for more pieces of food. So they handmade these quilts. It was a church that made them, and they were all Christmas themed, but they had a couple that did not have Santa Clauses and candy canes. And so that is what I have here. This one, is just, this one is just snowflakes. So I was going to cover Sarah up, but she is over there she is. If I cover up, then when I leave, she'll get up anyway, so I got a lot of food, but it wasn't free. My favorite bike that I got is now damaged. It still drives just fine, but the numbers on the gear are snapped off. I think somebody tampered with it. Somebody messed with it. Oh, and the woman could not get her thing locked. I looked at it for a minute. I said, and she's starting to do the key. I'm like, oh, some of those you don't use the key. I've got one like that. You just push it closed. And then she figured it out. So I think she was trying to lock it with the key, but it automatically locks. But she seemed like she seemed like an addict, but she seemed like a good person. Like, there are good addicts and bad addicts. By that, what I mean is there are people that are addicted, but they don't want to hurt anyone and cause any trouble. And there are people that are addicts and that'll do anything to get their next fix. So you might know what I'm talking about. But she said that people would get karma if they messed with her. They knew not to mess with her. Everyone kind of knew who she was. Here, I'm a newbie, and apparently, like, I stick out like a sore thumb because I'm not an addict. So then I guess that this just makes me a target. And somebody is like, oh, I'll give you a beer, you know, I'll give you a drug or something if you put the spike her food with this. And so, you know, and that's what they do. They distract you, have you think that, like, they're going to target you this way, and then they do something else. So, but anyways, yeah, this is probably a siren demon here. I don't worship it. Now, I think it's a good looking logo. I like the colors of it. It doesn't look silly or anything. I'm glad that they took the lower portion and they modified this to make it more appropriate. If you have not seen the original Starbucks logo. So like mermaids and sirens are hybrids like Nephilims. And also, like, the women that had children with the fallen angels were turned into, like, mermaid sirens, and they didn't all look like the attractive kind. There's all different variations of fish-type creatures, and that is so they could survive the biblical flood. And then their spirits also lived on because they weren't like a direct created being of God. God allowed them to be created, but did not want them to. But the fallen angels disobeyed, and so then these spirits roamed around, but God still used it for good. So it was all ultimately used for good, but anyways, if they can repent, that'd be good. I think some of them can. Like, if you want to know, some of these Nephilims, they look like Sonic the Hedgehog characters. They are cute. And they, in the spirit, they have more exaggerated facial expressions and things like Looney Tunes. They didn't just think of this stuff. That's what it actually looks like in the spirit. It's like art imitates life. So, and I think some people are now seeing it. So that's a downer to have my gears broken, but you know, everything in my life is coordinated. It's like, how strong are you? How much can you handle? You know, cause like when I was younger, I wanted to fight. Like I like to be really strong and fight. And like, you know, I'm not like in great shape now, but you know, compared to a lot of people, I'm biking and stuff. So you know, I've got some health. But you know, a lot of the people talking about like wanting to fight and stuff, like they're shaking because they're in withdrawal. And you know, somebody that actually knew what they were doing, you know, they wouldn't stand a chance. And these are the people that want to fight. Or like they want to be respected, and maybe they want to be loved. And the way they see people get street cred is by behaving a certain way. And but what they really want is something else. Yeah, the blanket actually is pretty warm right now on my lap. It's like freezing today. I'm gonna head out in a little bit and then try to hit up the soup kitchen for dinner. I do know I have to guard my food. Maybe I'll start bringing bags in so that I have a place to put my leftovers without being left unattended. Maybe I'll get my drink first so that I don't have to leave my tray. So I figure some stuff out, but I just started going, so. And I know it's not stupid to leave your tray, but I always do things like so I can learn what the enemy, Sarah, no, learn what the enemy is doing. Let me give her this blanket. So I let them get me to find out how they work, and then I don't let them get me again. Sarah, Mom just got you a present. Okay, down. Sarah, what's this? Yeah, there you go. See if she likes that. Oh my gosh. It's a lot of food, and it was not free. All this coffee, my teeth are like brown or something. They gave me some mangoes I took home, and I tried to eat them last night. They made a huge mess. 2 of them were rotten, and 1 of them was kind of okay. So then they had a bunch of free mangoes, but that's because they were expired. And the apples I got were really good. So some of the stuff that comes in, it's going bad. And so don't feel too good for the people at the soup kitchen, because I was like, wow, I love mangoes, and I got 3 of them, and I got the better looking ones, and 2 of them, and there was a big giant box of them, so I got like on the top some of the good looking ones, and 2 of those were like kind of rotten, and they didn't taste that great. Where the dogs love mangoes, and they didn't even really want them, so then they made a mess all over the floor. You really like have to eat mangoes outside with a hose or something. They're so messy. So I think I'm gonna pass on those next time, and if I see apples again. And then they gave us these, let's see what you get at the soup kitchen. Got me some bug bites. Graham cracker bugs. So, cinnamon bugs. That might be why this is at the soup kitchen, because they could have been like teddy bears or, you know, like, stockings, like, you know. Instead, they chose bugs, which are not the most appetizing. And then here is a smashed up Pop-Tart. It's in a bunch of pieces when I got it. It was all crunched up. But actually, I will eat this. I'm going to eat these. I am eating GMOs right now. As I said, it's an experiment, but I think God is having me eat this. And also, I would not be going to the soup kitchen now if I wasn't eating the food of the people. So, and this is probably a mission. Oh, and I've never seen this before. Look at this thing. A tiny little fruit cup. So it's like I'm in first grade. I'm in first grade again. And it kind of seems like it with the way some of these people, like if they're trying to bully me into not going to the soup kitchen, it's not going to work. But if they end up damaging my bike, then I guess until it doesn't even work, then I did find a place where they would do repairs for people like that, but then I would have to contact them, and maybe somebody could even take me in, I don't know. Because I said, I'm alone, I don't have anyone. So I need this bike, and I rely on this bike. So if God allows it to be damaged to where I can't use it anymore, then God will have to make another way for me. That's just the way it is. So I'm going back again tonight, and then there's this like free community, like there's a city, my lips are all chapped, there is a Thanksgiving dinner that is free. It is offered by the city, and that's in the downtown. The soup kitchen is going to be closed, but they're going to have meals for people, and we can take, so they even have drive-through where you can take it home, but hopefully my bike survives another evening, and if so, then I can go, because I did plan on going to this. If someone breaks my bike, I guess I'll probably hitchhike. I'm going to say honestly, if somebody breaks my bike, then I'm going to ask someone at the soup kitchen, or I'll probably hitchhike, because God can't, I'll try. God won't, like, I'm highly protected. Like, these people, when they try to screw me over, they get it a lot worse. And just like this one woman said, and I said something about karma, and she's like, oh yeah, and she started talking about karma immediately. And she said, people know, like, karma gets, like, when people mess with her, they get karma 10 times worse, she said. And then I said, yeah, and God, and these people that screwed me over, God, sometimes instant karma. Well, I don't remember exactly what I said. It sounded good at the time, and there was somebody overhearing, so they can take that information back to the kingdom of darkness. But they probably already know the state of these men. And I wonder how Saul of Tarsus is doing. Probably not the greatest. He's quite a small man. I thought he was like my height. He's like my height, but he did have big muscles from like working at a low-paying factory job. But he was a small man. And he didn't like Starbucks, because Starbucks is too fancy. He would make fun of that. So, like kind of the redneck hillbilly type thing where, and I'm not saying this to be stereotypical, but, there's some people that, like, they think trying to make your house and stuff look nice is stupid, and they talk down on it. And they don't even care. And they like a beer, and they think Starbucks is fancy. But I happen to like caffeine, and I like the taste of their cappuccinos, everyone, and I don't like beer, and I don't drink beer. I might have one beer every few months or something. I don't now, but I would do that, but I'm not a drinker, and so I'm probably spending way less on my occasional coffee than they are on a beer, but I've been getting this really inexpensive, this is great value, Walmart brand instant, so I don't need a coffee maker. This probably cost me 25 cents a day to make coffee at my house. Probably 50 cents to put milk in and to have multiple cups, so it is not breaking the bank by any means. Like, a bottle of water now is $1.50 or $2, so if I spend 50 cents a day on 3 cups of coffee with milk, then I don't think that I'm wasting money. But now I can get some coffee at the soup kitchen. They have it like around breakfast, and there's normally some left at lunchtime too, and then it's gone by dinner time is what I've noticed. So I think I'm going to bike down to the gym. The narcissist is talking about how they can manifest stuff, and they tried to manifest some dumb stuff over me, uh, which none of which are going to work. I know all about manifesting, um, to where we have to accept our life, and God knows what we like, but ultimately it's not up to us. We can't manifest something that's not in our life plan. We can't manifest something God doesn't want us to have, and you can't manifest downfall and destruction on someone that doesn't deserve it either. That you could pray to God for karma, but anyways, they were trying to do some dumb little things. It's very obvious. It's very obvious. So they said, I can speak things into, I can manifest, I can speak things into existence. Are you trying to, are you trying to like impress me with that? So he tried to say, oh, I can see you're older now. And then he said, I can see lesbian tendencies. Oh, do you have good teeth? And he showed me his teeth. He wanted me to show him my teeth, and I didn't. I said, yeah, and I didn't show my teeth. You got to respond to him in a way to where you can come into agreement with some of the stuff they say, but you can also reverse it onto them. I didn't do that. I observed, but yeah, I did. They will try to speak spells over you. They have been trying to make me a lesbian, and I'm not a lesbian. They have always been trying to do this, because a lot of women are under the Jezebel spell, to where they think looking like a woman is wearing makeup and copying the attitudes of the Kardashians or something. And that is not, that's not even like, that's not even really a feminine spirit. Like, it could be in males too. There's a spirit that teaches the seduction, and then they curse these makeup products. And so since I don't do that, they always want to cast some spell on me to make me a lesbian. They've been trying it my whole life. And guess what? I'm not a lesbian. And I'm not going to be one. But but I did tell that narcissist I might as well be a lesbian, because I'm not going out with you. Might as well be, but I am not. You got to say I'm not a lesbian when they say that. And then when they say, or do you have bad teeth? Do you have good teeth? And then, be careful, because they will actually cast a spell over you to like hurt your teeth, to damage your teeth. Like, they got their little tricks, but they can't really manifest anything. The world is a certain way because they have this network and work together, but that's kind of been dismantled now, and they're like falling apart. So like their boss and their main leadership is already taken out, or it's flipped. So you just have like the low level people, and it's like maybe they're the kings of the soup kitchen, but yeah, it's sad what's happening, and hopefully some of them can repent. And you can tell who is a narcissist if you look at their friends list, and their friends lists are all people of one gender, and they all look a certain way. It's like the old satanic group that I hung around, like, and they just openly post things about being witches and doing rituals under the moonlight. And they post it right there public on their profile. So it's not a secret. I mean, and then you look at it and you think it's just like a fashion statement. And like when I was a kid, do you think that they really are? Do you think they really worship the devil, or it's just fashion? I said, I just think it's fashion. And then, being kids, they asked me this. But being kids, they were working for the other side, and they knew it. And so, they tell people, like, don't judge others on how they look. No, you absolutely should. Like, especially now. Judge people on how they look. I'm not saying, like, what skin color or how long their hair is and stuff like that. I mean, you judge them. Like, you can see if somebody is a criminal scumbag. You can see if somebody is a Satanist, a seductress. You can see that if somebody is a narcissist. And you should judge them accordingly. No, it doesn't mean not to. Okay, it doesn't mean not to treat them. You treat them with respect until they disrespect you. And so they will quickly disrespect you. It doesn't take very long. Well, hopefully I still have a bike. Hopefully I still have a bike for tomorrow to get my free Thanksgiving dinner. It's been on the news and stuff. Apparently, I saw it on the TV at the gym, so it's a big thing. A lot of people are going, and so I said if somebody messes with my bike and I can't use my bike, then I'm gonna just have to hitchhike. I'm gonna do it. God's not gonna let anything happen, and maybe somebody will pick me up and take me. They probably will. I bet someone would. I scare demons. They're afraid of me, but maybe like some regular people would not be afraid. Yeah, I don't know. If that happens, then it's supposed to, and it's part of God's plan for whatever is going on, which might ultimately end up in having rides again instead of not having to bike in the winter. But then I just ordered some cold winter gear for my bike, so just another waste. But actually, this is nice for just walking around. It makes a huge difference to have ear flaps, and also a regular hat. Like I like my Jesus hat. I was wearing that, but that would have blown off today and been lost. This one stays on, and it's got like it's real lightweight and thin, but it's got a little bit of padding in it, so it's warmer, and just covering my ears made a huge difference because it was like 35 degrees or something. It was pretty cold. It was pretty cold today. So it was not that cold yesterday because it was raining. And I'm glad I got this hat just in time because I would have been uncomfortable biking without this. And in that weather with the hat, it was actually tolerable and just quite fine. So go to Temu and get your own. Actually, they probably have stuff like this at Walmart. It was just still cheaper at Temu, but the way their prices are going up now, you're probably better to just go to Walmart. Like, I got these fuzzy hats and things, which I like, and they're warm, but you can't use them on the bike. So you would have to put them on after you get off the bike. And so maybe one time in my life I'll have access to a vehicle and then I'll be able to use them again. But like they got some real fuzzy ones on Temu. But then I went to Walmart and I didn't get it or anything. But then I looked and they had some similar type. They weren't like exactly the same, but then they had fuzzy hats there too. So they were copying the stuff. Walmart was copying what was sold on Temu. And then they were selling it there and it was like $10. But when it was on Temu, it was like $5. So the big fuzzy hats were like $5 on Temu, and then they were $10 at Walmart. But then they also make you spend like $20 or something to get the free shipping. So I don't know what's going on there. Their prices have gone way up. But this one, it's just real lightweight and stuff, and it's easy to wear underneath of a hood. So it doesn't get in the way. It's not too bulky, and it'll wipe off. It can get wet. Like some of the suede just gets dirty, or you can't really get it wet, or it holds moisture. So, and this is also breathable. So, yeah, I should get paid by Temu. I get all my hats there. I got my Jesus hat on Temu, and Jesus is not God, people. Okay, you need to understand that. But this is if you follow Jesus, if you are one of the Christ, then you are on Team Jesus. Okay, we are on Team Jesus, but we are not to worship Jesus. Anyways, I wear this hat and it says the way on it, and that was the religion we were supposed to follow, that he was preaching to people, and the other prophets too. All the other prophets of God taught the way. They all did. But as long as we know one, what is the way? Well, it's not Judaism. It's not Christianity, and it's not Islam. It's the way. It's God's religion. And it's basically like just being good and following the 10 Commandments. And you can't slaughter animals where they are tortured and they feel the pain. And then there's no dogma. There's no racism, there's no sexism, there's none of that crap. And you don't have to give money to the church. When you give charity, you don't even need to give that to the church. Like, you give that to somebody that needs it. And you don't give it to somebody that's going to go use it on drugs. You are not supposed to give money to an addict. And you are not supposed to give money to somebody that is going to use it in a bad way. But if there's somebody that needs help and they're going to use it in a good way, like you could pay off somebody's debt, that is charity. Doesn't mean you go give your money to the church. So they lie. I mean, you have to look at how is this money being used. And I find most actual charities, like very little of that money actually gets to any people. But this soup kitchen is actually feeding the narcissists and addicts, and they shouldn't just be dying. They need to repent. They need to be saved. So they can't be starving to death in this state. And I don't know how we get there, but yeah, I don't know how we get there. But there's a bunch of like narcissists around here, and they're like keeping people. They tempt people to sin, and then when they're addicted to things, it's just like enabling. And if they weren't there, it would be a lot easier for them. So I'm thinking these Trump mental institutions, they get up and running, will be a big help. And keep the narcissists in their own section. Okay, I'm gonna get off here. Well, the food bank is not free. It might result in the destruction of my bicycle, but I declare and decree angelic protection over my bicycle. Kingdom of Darkness, you are forbidden to damage my bicycle, and if anything happens to my bicycle, it is only because God wants it to, because I am going to have a vehicle to get back and forth. Okay, thanks for watching. God bless you all.